Okay, let's see here. I'll have to adjust the light. I always turn the lights down when I come into my office early in the morning, because that's how I prefer to have it when I'm writing. So I've done my writing, and now I want to talk about something that I find quite important, and a lot of people are not aware of this, and how should they? How would they be aware of this? Because this is something you get a glimpse into when you have a large following on social media, and I'll tell you all about it. So I am going to get actually going to do um, two live streams. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to do a members only live stream right after this one. So I'll try to keep this live stream short, um, because I want to get to the members only live stream after that. You can give me a super chat. Again, any donation is absolutely that's wonderful, but even more wonderful is if you go to the links to the charities in my video description here, and you can donate to those, or charities in especially in the Ukraine and Russia. I always talk about these animal charities that I'm supporting, because in both the Ukraine and Russia, they are struggling now because of the war. So please consider doing that. But of course, any super chat and donation and so on, it's also that's wonderful as well, of course. Um, but I'm not the one who needs the money most. That's what I'm trying to say here. Um, yeah. So there is a perception that Western mainstream media is lying. And I'm like, whenever I get people in the comments trying to tell me that, I'm like, oh, no, you don't say, are they? uh, I didn't know that. um, yes, they are. That's not big news, right? And I have pretty much dedicated a lot of my videos to that topic, pretty much. Yes, they are. And it's not about being subjective. It's not about them trying their best to portray to tell you what's going on. Just that it's so difficult to be objective. No, they are lying. But sometimes, as I said before, the truth fits their narrative. Or you could even speculate that they did certain things that led to certain things. And that thing it led to that really supports the narrative that they want to tell. Biden. So, yeah, it's like, yes, they do. We know this now after COVID. We know they are lying. So, the problem is not that, well, how should I put this? The problem is that people seem to think that any story or narrative or anything that goes against Western mainstream media must therefore be true. And I see this all the time. And the war in the Ukraine, it's a very complicated situation, and I won't even pretend to understand what's going on there. And pretty much my guess is that none of us do. None of us do. Now, as I said before, I've been to Russia and I've been to the Ukraine. I know Russian people, and I know I actually do I know someone from the Ukraine? Uh, well, I don't think I know anyone from the Ukraine actually, but the problem is that people will just accept any propaganda from Russia, like without question. That's the problem. Okay, so I'm sort of disappointed because what we do know about the Soviets, these are old Soviets. It's the same system, right? And if you have been on this planet for a while, and if you remember the Soviet Union, um, you surely must remember that that was perhaps the most effective propaganda machine in the world. And why would they stop doing their propaganda? Why would they stop? Of course they won't stop. They never stopped. And what we are seeing now is that I want to say Soviet, but I'll say because it's basically the same system as they had during the Soviet era. But Russian propaganda has infiltrated the internet, basically, and social media to such a degree that it will reach you. It will reach you to a large extent. And it will portray itself as being the truth. It will be active on alternative media. It will be active also on YouTube within the limits of what you can say and so on. And it's important to understand that it has its trademark, so you can recognize it. But if we could just start by understanding that just because it tells a different story than what Western mainstream media tells you, it doesn't mean that it is the truth. It doesn't mean that there is less propaganda in it. So, my experience is that after I made my video about how Russia has been threatening Norway and Sweden and so on, basically trying to tell us what we can do, what we can't do when it comes to our defense, our defense of our country and our alliances and so on. After I uploaded that video, strange things happened. Let's just say that strange things happened on the internet, and I can't get into detail on that because of obvious privacy concerns. But I can tell you that it was obviously something being done by Russian people. Okay. Also, quite a few people reached out to me, and I was actually fooled to start with. But I always, give it a few days of, I think about it for a few days before I reply. And I saw the same story from all these people. Basically, they were saying that I'm on the ground in this and that area. I can tell you what's really going on, and it's not like this or that. and so on and so on and so on. It was the same story. Now the similarities in wording is very suspicious, right? So my guess is that these were people paid by Russian propaganda, right? Or the Russian state. That's my guess. And they want me to tell a story that fits into the Russian propaganda machine, right? So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But here on this channel for members only, I shared a link to a video about one of the people who portrays himself as an independent journalist, telling the real truth from the Ukraine. But in reality, it shines through that it's just someone being paid to to do propaganda work for Russia. So the thing about Russian propaganda or the Russian so Russian propaganda is one thing, right? And what people fail to realize is that, and I see some here in the comment saying that, well, the Western propaganda is far worse and so on. Well, you might say that, okay, but you also need to realize that you're being very naive if you even try to compare the consequences of going against the state narrative in Russia versus any Western country. And some of you will hate me for saying that, but if you do that in Russia, uh, you will be severely beaten in jail. And you will sit there and wait and wait and wait. Um, and if you try comparing that to being shut off from social media like they might do here in Western countries, I don't know, but I would prefer to just be shut off from Western media and so on, than being put in jail and beaten for days. And you might not believe me, but there are numerous examples of that happening. And if you can't see that, you're being very naive. So, someone says they both lies and no need to compare them. Well, I think there is absolutely a need to compare them, because one, like the Russians, they will kill you, okay? While here in the West, they will shut you off from Western media. You might lose your job and so on. But you won't be killed. And I'm sure someone will find some fringe story about someone who got killed. But and you need to put things into perspective, guys. You need to put things into perspective. You need to look at the numbers. Not saying that corrupt politicians, especially in the USA, you have a lot of them, I believe, are not haven't done horrible things, taken lives even. But you need to look at the numbers and you need to understand that the Russians are not the good guys here. Okay. Kjell Thomassen, thanks a lot. When I say, yeah, okay. So this is why I'm going to talk about this in the members section. Okay. You need to look at the numbers and you need to understand that, you know what? I don't have to justify what I just said. That won't convince anyone. And you can unsubscribe to the channel or whatever. I don't care. So Kjell Thomassen, thanks a lot for the donation. No, sorry, for becoming a member to the channel, and you will have access to the members only chat that I will start in a few minutes from now.